This next job is one I haven't come across before. Never had this fault before, not on this boiler anyway. Similar faults on similar types of boilers, which is where I was going with my initial diagnosis, but yeah, I've not had this specific one before. So have you? Been called out to this ideal ICOS, and what the customer says it's doing is when it attempts to ignite, it will just drop out like that, and then it will just go through a cycle of coming on and off, on and off, on and off. There is still power. So initially I thought potentially a zone valve issue or throughput issue where that was losing power, but we shall see. Let's do some testing. I've exposed the circuit board to see if there's any wires that are loose or anything. Don't seem to be. I'll take all those connectors out and put them back in just to make sure. So taking the connectors out, put them back in. This is a really great app I use. It's called YourGasFault. It's about £14 a year, but it condenses all the important bits of the manufacturer's instructions that you would need. So you search the GC number, then you can look up each boiler. You can get their full manuals on there, or you can look at wiring diagrams,
test if the boiler's still getting power the whole time,
what air gas ratios we're looking for, all easy to find.
So after taking connections in and out, all it leads you down to really is PCB or display board gone. I've spoken to Ideal to confirm this, and they said the same thing. I've checked my polarity, so live, which is the top right hand corner there, the brown one, live to earth is 240 volts, neutral to earth, which is the blue one, is 0 volts, and live to neutral, brown and blue, is 240 volts. So yeah, polarity is all good. That's the only thing they recommended to check. Other than that, new board. So let's go get one. So we're back here with the components, parts. Client opted for recon ones, which I think is a smart idea on a boiler of this age. I haven't worked on one of these in a long time. These are kind of nightmare boilers, to be fair. Let's replace the display board first. Power's off. Just literally clips on. And then you can see there's a little connection for the board. You can change the whole housing, but don't really need to on this one. Let's see if this sorts the issue. This boiler is doing the same thing, so it is the main board that's required. That's right, unclips from there and there. You've got them little cutouts there. You can put the screwdriver on. On these, you need to remember where they go. You have a little jumper, and that needs to go in the exact same position for the model that you're using. So we are 1, 2, 3, 4th up. So then we'll fit this one. We can take the others out. We just need one in the 4th up.
Ooh, sounds better already. Much better. Maybe not. It seemed like it was better, and it kind of was. The boiler was no longer cutting out, but this happened. So it was going to ignition lockout. So now I'm testing the electrodes because it didn't seem like it was sparking at all. So I've got it on resistance, and you want to be checking between where the spark would connect on and just where it comes out of the ceramic there. And you're getting an inconsistent reading. So some places I'm getting OL. On the side, if I test it in a little kind of dimple at the back, getting a reading. There's a potential that there's a split inside the ceramic, but it's definitely not sparking. And the way you would test that is you turn the gas off, take the electrodes out, leave it all connected, and turn the boiler on and see if it sparks. Nope, no spark. So here we are back with a new set of electrodes. So we'll open these up and get them on there and hope for the best. Because I could do with this working. Got a little washer on there. Obviously, always replace that. And it also comes with new screws in the pack too. They only go in one way. Should probably test a spark before I put them in actually. Let's reset the boiler. And no spark.
What? What?
Brilliant, just what I wanted. So that wasn't good. For clarity, I spoke to Ideal Technical before replacing those electrodes, and they told me to test, and that's what they said it was. So yeah, now let's do some more checks. So the way we test the HT lead on these is one probe on the metal here, basically a probe either side of it, and we're looking for low resistance on there. Put multimeter to resistance. We're looking for a low resistance. So yeah, that indicates the HT lead is okay. HT lead even. So we're going to change that spark gen. New one here. And now we're at the point of just hoping for the best, to be honest. It's just one of those jobs. That is the gift that keeps on giving. Another one like this. So it's just 2 screws, your HT loop connection, and live and neutral. So this is getting 240 volts when it attempts to spark, which would indicate that that is the issue. There's a new one. So pop this lead on there now. Really hope this sorts it. I'm proper at a loss with this job now. So 2 new boards because they were at fault. And actually when I spoke to Ideal, they said this could have chucked the boards out. Who knows? Well, I guess they know, to be fair. Fingers crossed. Clear the fault code. Sounds like it's fired. And yes, we have liftoff. Yes. That is a big sigh of relief. You do not know the pressure I've been feeling with this job. So as a rundown, initially boards had gone. Every time this went to fire, power was dropping out completely and flicking back on by itself every few seconds, off, on, off, on. Checked with Ideal. After doing my checks, the boiler was keeping voltage because I thought maybe it was a zone valve dropping out, but it wasn't. Boiler was keeping 240 volts the whole time, which then Ideal agreed that it could be the main board, could be the display board. So they said get both, there's no other way of testing. Done that, changed the boards, power was then staying on but not sparking, to which the electrodes, it looked as though from the testing there was a little crack in there. I'm skeptical that that was the case, but I can only go with the readings I was getting because you were getting open line in between the end of the ceramic on the metal bit and the other side. But now spark gen as well, because that had 240 volts between brown and blue up there. 240 volts between those two, but no spark. So new gen, but that's firing. So there we are, done in that one, all up and running again. Felt a lot of pressure with that because I don't know who else gets this. Let me know in the comments if you do. But diagnosing a circuit board fault, you can't then tell if that circuit board's completely faulty and not distributing power anywhere else or cutting out. You can't then tell if there's any other components causing it. And that's a very hard one to explain and relay to the client, especially when the circuit board's so expensive that there may be further faults. Obviously we do have to tell them that, but yeah, I always find that hard to navigate. On this one, the boards were definitely at fault. You could see the difference in the power not dipping out, and then the spark gem was also at fault. For openness, I rang Ideal on this one a couple of times just because don't work on this boiler a lot, and it was worth double checking just to make sure we was going down the right road. First person I spoke to sent me down the wrong road, but it is what it is. The second person I spoke to was a guy called Simon, really, really helpful. He also told me about getting something that they use in cars and motorbikes, and you can also use on boilers. I guess anything with a spark plug electrode type thing, where it's like a little translucent component. That one I found was called an Icostalot, and you can basically see if it's sparking because there's no way to actually test the spark. So yeah, I'll let you know how it goes with that. Maybe on the next video I'll post up that one when I get one. So as always, like, subscribe, comment. Appreciate you watching. Hopefully that's a bit of an interesting one for you, because it was for me, although it caused a lot of stress and pressure and tension.